Hello, 3 cards revealed for the Boomsday expansion. First up is Blight Nozzle Crawler, 4 mana 2/4 rogue mech with the Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 ooze with poison and rush. I really like the idea of this Death Rattle because it creates a unique game state. When this is played, the opponent is incentivized to destroy it right away and then also kill the ooze. If they don't deal with this minion, then the user can trade Crawler in and choose what target they want to rush the poison into. Blight Nozzle doesn't have poison, but it promises poison in the future, so it's in your opponent's best interest to put the investment in and decide where that poison goes. This is a really interesting sort of interaction between both players, but unfortunately the minion is really low statted, pretty slow compared to more immediate clearing solutions, only useful with big enemy minions on the board, and doesn't really fit into any rogue deck. I'm not a pro arena player, but I think it would be cool if Blight Nozzle Crawler saw some play in that game mode, because I still want to be put in situations with this card and see how they unfold. Up next is Star Aligner, 7 mana 7/7 neutral with the battle cry, if you control 3 minions with 7 health, deal 7 damage to all enemies. So this card seems like out of nowhere. The only deck I could see this directed at is a Lady in White or Glitter Moth deck. Those cards definitely didn't make a splash last expansion, so maybe Blizzard is trying to help them out. Something to note with this card is that it counts itself as one of those 7 health minions, so in actuality you only need 2 other beefy minions. I mean, it's not like it's terribly hard to have 7 health minions in your deck, it's just they're not all great minions, and it's hard to have 2 out consistently on the board. If you can actually satisfy the battlecry requirement, then this is a pretty nice card. 7 damage to face, and most likely a clear enemy board. The stars have to align for this battlecry to work, and maybe there's a special deck out there, but it's hard to visualize this card consistently working in a competitive deck. And last up is Cybertek Chip, 2 mana hunter spell that gives your minions Death Rattle, add a random mech to your hand. So it's the cheaper mech version of Infestation. I always thought that card was kind of expensive. A couple of things are interesting about this card. First off, Hunter isn't a great board filling class. It's not bad, just nothing like Shaman or Druid. So unless you can consistently get a good Unleash the Hounds, it's rare you'll ever land this on 7 minions, but I think that's alright because 4 or more minions is totally fine value for this card. Second, magnetic cards also aren't really good for board filling. The whole point of magnetic is to turn 2 minions into 1, so if you're trying to get a wider board, a magnetic mech deck isn't how to do it. And lastly, there aren't too many mechs in the game. There's a handful in Standard now and a decent amount in Boomsday, but it's still going to be a small pool compared to other tribes. I think it's going to be a lot like Elementals when they were first added to the game. Maybe there's going to be a little bit more. So while Cybertek Chip gives you random mechs, you're going to get somewhat more consistent pulls from this card. Whether those pulls are good or not is dependent on how good the mech pull ends up being. My guess is that a lot of mechs are going to be duds, but if you're running this card in a magnetic deck, it might not matter if the mechs are bad, just as long as you have something to magnetize to. Overall, I think by nature, Hunter doesn't seem like a class that could use magnetic mechs well. It's usually too aggressive. But we haven't seen many cards from the class yet, so there's still time to see if Cybertek Chip will see play. That is all the cards for now. I'll be back tomorrow morning for another one. Brush your teeth, and until then, ta-ta.